Okay, what we're going to do now is sort of the last of the basic knife series, and now it's this grip, thumb up, blade down. So this is the grip that people will use a lot of times because they're simply trying to disguise the knife. It's out of their pocket, ready to go, but much more difficult for people in a crowd to see, okay? So what can happen here in this case is, number one, the kind of the best situation for you is the guy comes in and does this attack, which I covered in another video. So he's just going to simply grab my wrist, he's going to come underneath with the other arm, he's going to step across and block my arm here, and then he is going to take me to the ground. Okay, we've done that in another video. The next, and probably the most obvious thing that happens from this is the downward strike, okay? It's this downward attack with the knife, and there are several different ways that we can handle that, okay? So, right. So with that, the first thing is that knife is coming down here. The key is the dull side of the blade, unless it's a kind of a boot knife or a double-edged weapon, which are certainly out there, but not terribly common. You're kind of safe in this case because even if you touch my wrist, I'm not going to get cut because the sharp side is up. If the sharp side is down, I'm going to get cut, but it's not going to be a lethal or a dangerous cut. It's going to look bad, but it's not going to be bad in reality. Okay. So we have several ways to block a downward strike. The safest is that I both arms up. Okay, with both arms up, if there's nowhere for that arm to slip. If he wants to attack me, he has to pull back and strike again, or again. Okay, so this is, some people prefer to do it with both arms together. I kind of prefer it separated because it gives me a little bit more control. My hands are here to sort of give me some safety. Okay, that's the safest. And also kind of a safe way of doing this is a single arm block, but a block where I am blocking and moving outside of where that knife is, okay? So what can happen here is if that comes around, if I'm not careful, he may clip me in the leg here. But generally speaking, if he comes down and tries to hit me here, I can step out and get away if I have to. The most dangerous one is the single arm block where I'm standing face to face. And the reason is, now if I capture this, my arm is properly bent, not too bad. If in the heat of the moment my arm comes in too straight and that knife slides down my arm, that knife's going to go right into my ribs. Okay? So this is certainly an okay knife attack if you know what you're doing, but it's also the most risky of the attacks. But a lot of times in the heat of the moment, you just react and you find yourself, I shouldn't have done that, but here I am, what am I going to do? Okay? So the first is going to be this double block here. Okay, and from here what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to slip this hand off. So now that I've got it stopped, this is going to come off and basically strike you in the face, okay? Some people will strike it in the throat, others will come in here and strike under the ribs. I don't like to come down here because of the next step I have to take with this block. So I'm controlled here, I strike here. The next thing is I'm going to strike this elbow, the upper part of the elbow with a downward motion here so that I can take this grip. Okay? Now, what I don't want to do here is kind of be turned outward because all he's going to do is straighten his arm out. And now I've got another problem. Great. So after I strike the elbow, I strike the back of the arm, I get this lock, I want to turn into him, right? Because if I turn into him and keep that knife close to him, then with this bent arm, I've got pretty good control over him. From here, all I have to do is step behind him and take it down. Okay? When this takedown occurs, you want to land as hard as you can with your knees right on his rib cage. Here. All right? So let's turn the other direction. So he's going to strike, block, strike here, strike back here, turn into him, right here, step behind him, take him down, okay? Now once I have him in this position, what I'm going to do is drop the knife behind him. I want to control his neck and his head with my leg. My knee is behind his back, and all I have to do is break his shoulder, okay? Okay, the other, so turn the knife around, that's kind of the most common. Okay, so what we're going to do on the next one is, he's going to come down, same block here. So I basically have both of these hands on his arm here. This actually works better. So on this one, the first one, my right hand is under my left for the strike and for the strike. On the other one, it's more effective if my hands are reversed. If my hand is, or my left hand is under my right. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to control this wrist, and I'm simply going to step right underneath and do this arm bar break here, like we've done before. I'm going to turn around, strike him in the ribs, keep control of that wrist, palm strike, up punch him, I can gouge his eyes here, and then we'll just do knee to the groin and the takedown. Okay? Let's do that one from the other angle. So remember, the first attack defense was like this. This one works better if you reverse your hands. You come in, break the arm. Step under, control this wrist, strike to the ribs, back, palm to the face, knee, and step and take down. Now in this case, where he's falling, I'm just going to drop my knee on his bicep and take the knife away. Okay? The downward strike, if you want to pass it completely, one option is, so if you come over the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to step outside, okay? But I'm not going to step outside, completely run away, because now he's going to come after me again. So what I'm going to do on this is as I get here, I want to strike him with my free hand somewhere, okay? The way I learned this was, it's a strike to the ribs here, okay? It can just as easily be a strike here to the face, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to bring that knife around, switch hands, knee to the groin. If you have an opportunity, you can drop an elbow on the back of the head. But what I want to do next for this disarm is I'm going to come over the top and I'm going to strike. If his arm is straight like this, I'm going to drop my elbow straight on the back of his elbow to break it. Or I can strike the back of his arm here as I'm pushing his hand in this direction and basically take control of that arm and then the disarm. So this one's a little bit complicated, but it does work. So block here, strike. Switch hands here, strike. Knee, strike again if you want to. Strike the back of the arm and disarm the knife. Strike, 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 and take the knife. So let's do it from the other angle. Oh, sorry. So here, okay, strike here, switch the hands, here, strike, knee, okay. From here, this is probably all I need to do. I can strike him again if I want to, but what I really want to do is attack the elbow to finish this thing. What I'm going to do is basically just strike here to fold the arm, and now I can take the knife away. The last one is same type of motion where I'm going to, he's coming down, this is a little bit more simple. I'm going to pass it here. I'm going to take control of the arm somewhere here, secure it. I'm going to strike here, grab the hand, as we've done with so many, step out, palm up, groin kick, and take it away. Strike, strike. The other is a downward strike that is coming in from the outside. And actually, from my right side, so the technique here is almost exactly the same that we just did. So here, I'm going to block here. I'm going to go over, capture the arm here. I'm going to strike here. I'm going to take control of this knife hand as I step out and one more time. So here, strike. If you're on the other side, right, there's no way I can do this, right, I'm going to be completely off balance. So this one is going to be this block that I hate, which is this one here. So this sort of dangerous block that has the potential of hitting me in the side, but I really don't have many options from this angle. So from here, I have to come in and strike quick here as I'm doing this technique, okay? So it comes in here, strike here. I got to maintain control of this arm. I'm going to knee, hand up, collapse the hand, groin kick, and take the knife away. Okay, so one last time. And then we're done. Strike here, strike. Hand up, collapse the hand, groin kick. All right? Okay, thank you. Those are the basic techniques for dealing with a downward thrust of the knife from the front or either side.